Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. As 70 Mounts, we're the Gaming Drag today. I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Angels With Scaly Wings, Adine's Path. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Alright. You could always say that humanity is interested in it. Honestly, they probably would be. Could you ask them for me, please? I won't promise anything, but I can certainly try. Thank you, that means a lot to me. I didn't know you were into archaeology. I wouldn't care as much if it turned out to be just some old building. The whole thing about it being made by humans is what's really interesting. Why's that? Well, the myths wouldn't be very mythical anymore if that was the case. We'd have proof. And that's so shortly after finding out that humans are, in fact, real. Yes, what a time to be alive! So you believe in all that. Stuff. Belief isn't the right word when you're standing right in front of me, you know. That alone is a miracle. I get excited all over again just thinking about it. Speaking of which, all this excitement made me lose track of time. Is it that late already? Oh, actually, I have places to be, especially if I want to make sure my contest application arrives on time. Guess I should be going then, huh? For now, at least. I certainly wouldn't mind if you stopped by again sometime. Will there be any magazines involved? Actually, that magazine doesn't come out that often, so we wouldn't have anything new from them. I could get a different one if you wanted to, though. Don't bother. Heh, if you say so. Anyway, I really have to go, so I'll see you around. Nothing going on today. Guess I can do whatever. Spend the day reading. In the end, I decided to spend the day reading in my apartment. I wasn't really in the mood for anything complex, so I settled for reading the next entry in the Sheridan's Adventure series. By the time I had finished the book in which the scepter of sovereignty from the preceding novel was first stolen, then reclaimed by the novel's titular hero, only to be stolen again in another cliffhanger ending ploy setting up the series' next entry, I wish I had spent the time doing something more productive. I figured I might still be able to go out or do something, but when I looked at the time, I regretfully had to realize that the day was already over and it was too late. Dun dun dun. Superstition. Chapter 3. Alrighty. I like how that looks like a slice of fruit. Fruit pillow. The morning sun declared the arrival of a new day and woke me from my vivid dreams. Memories of my home, enclosed within the towering perimeter wall, raced through my head. The peaceful landscape outside the apartment window stood in defiance of these old thoughts. Rolling hills and blue sky were familiar to me now, and the purity of the sight gave me hope. Oh, looks like we got a visitor. Hey, it's Sebastian. Second, now let me plug my phone in real quick. Alright. Alright. Keegan, please come with me. What's going on? You sound serious. The chief will explain everything once we arrive. Okay. Hey, Chief. Keegan is here. Thanks, Sebastian. You can deal with the situation here while I talk to Keegan, alright? Of course. Keegan, I've got some really bad news. Well, what is it? You know Anna, right? I've met her, yes. How about her assistant? I met him once or twice. Well, that's him. Are you okay? I don't know. Is there anything that I can do? Let's just get this over with. Bryce gave me a concerned look, but then nodded. And here's more bad news. The blood we found on the first victim in town matches the DNA evidence found on the second victim at the power facility. Furthermore, the murder weapon and method appear to be the same across all three victims, and that's going to be a big problem for you. Why's that? Because with these three murders, Reza now qualifies as a serial killer. We won't be able to keep this whole thing quiet for much longer. Higher authorities, including the ministry in charge of your whole visit, will know about this soon. I have no idea what will happen once they do. I'm not sure what to say to that. I don't want to worry you, but we can be sure that action will be taken soon. I've been considering this possibility for a while, and think it might be best if you went back to your own world for now. This way we can take action before the Ministry does, and before this all becomes public. If we wait, we don't know what they'll do or how the public will react. With everything going on, it's too dangerous for you to stay here. No. No? This would be the worst possible time for me to leave. We've given up our PDAs and hardly have anything to show for it. We are owed several more generators, and let's not forget that Reza is still missing. If I leave now, the only thing I return home with is my life, and I'll have lost everything else. We need those generators, Bryce. I have no idea if your authorities will continue to uphold our deal or what they do to Reza, but I'm not leaving until this is over. If that's your decision, then so be it. Looks like you've seen this before. Skip to the scene selection? No! As you wish. Anyway, let's get back on track. I called you here for a reason, Keegan. In addition to the murder, several things were stolen. Among them, your PDAs, batteries, and some components used to build generators. Does that ring any bells? Not really. Reza might have some knowledge of electronics, but I doubt he has enough to assemble one of your generators, even if he had the parts. Strange. Even so, it's fair to assume Reza's involvement at this point. No one else has a greater motive to steal the PDAs, especially after what happened between him and Maverick. Unless someone wanted to frame Reza in order to sabotage this whole operation. Second, y'all. Let me check the, quick. Yeah, let's keep going. Do you really believe that? Hey, I'm just saying that it's possible. I'll shelf that idea under possible, but unlikely. Hey, Chief, are we done here? Pretty much. Why do you ask? We just got a message from the higher-ups. You and Keegan are to report to the Ministry of Culture and Arts immediately. Immediately, as in right now? Yeah, apparently. What's going on? To be frank, I don't know. This is an extraordinary situation, and now that it's getting out of hand, they must want to address it. So the worst possibility. If you expect the worst, at least you won't be disappointed. Sebastian, you can finish up here and go to the Ministry when you're done. We'll probably have to make some arrangements after this meeting. Sure thing, Chief. Let's go then, shall we? It's not like we have a choice. That was quicker than I expected. I wouldn't have minded waiting out here a little longer. Greetings, Minister. Greetings. Shall we go inside for our official business? No, I've got everything I need right here. It gets so stuffy inside on hot days. My assistant doesn't seem to mind, but I prefer the fresh air. I'd rather just stay right here unless you have any objections. I don't. I see. Well, I know I haven't exactly been up to date in regards to Reza's sudden disappearance, but to get the message today that he is a confirmed serial killer was quite shocking. Frankly, I'm curious as to why the facts of this case have been withheld from me for so long. Simply because they weren't within your jurisdiction. The murders were strictly a police matter. Only with the amount of new evidence, namely the DNA and blood we found, and these three murders now being linked together, into him did your ministry have to become involved. I see. So Reza's involvement is now undeniable. I'm afraid so, Minister. The facts are nothing to be afraid of, though. In light of all this, I'm starting to worry about my personal safety. With our thick hides, I don't think our species has much to fear if we consider the murder weapon. Speak for yourself. You don't think someone of my standing needs protection? Oh, for sure, but if you were worried about your personal safety, we could look into an escort for you. Good. Considering all the murders took place during the night, I'll certainly need it. Long days are endemic in my line of work. But that's enough about myself. We now face the question of what should be done about Reza and Keegan. Minister, we continue our hunt for Reza every day. As a matter of fact, Keegan has been helping us do so for a while now. Alright, I'm gonna pause it right there while I get something to eat. I'll be right back, y'all. Alright, y'all, and we are back. Okay. Is that so? One human a murderer, another detective. Interesting. And how do we know Keegan isn't following a similar plan to Reza's, whatever that may be? Similar concerns were leveled by Reza's escort, Maverick. This is a reaction that caused Reza to run away in the first place. Let the human talk for once, Chief. Please, Keegan, enlighten me. You and Reza came here on the same mission and the situation has escalated beyond our expectations. What you tell me now will determine the actions I'll take on this matter. Maybe you should start by telling me your side of the events from the beginning. Reza was fine during his early days here. Things only went wrong after you arrived. I opened my mouth, but Bryce spoke first, determined to defend me. Arguably, the problems that caused all this were apparent even then. How so? Maverick suspected Reza of planning something, but I didn't think he had a case. Well, did he? No. What he had was a suspicion. The night he followed Reza, he found both him and Keegan at the portal. The humans intended to send one of their promised generators through, but there was a confrontation that ended with both Maverick and Keegan wounded and Reza running away. Reza's been missing ever since. I've read the reports already, Chief. The question is, did Maverick cause this, or did he just fail to prevent it? I have no way of knowing that, Minister. You just mentioned your apparent knowledge of problems back then. Problems may not have been the right word. Let's just say Maverick's attitude was not helpful during that encounter. Why did you choose Maverick as his escort in the first place? Protection for the human ambassador was my greatest concern when I made that decision, and Maverick was the most capable individual in that regard. Well, that worked out nicely, didn't it? Also, you also seem to think that Maverick shouldn't have remained Reza's escort. Is that true? Yes, had I paid more attention to the warning signs, the situation may have been avoided. So you accept responsibility for the incident? Yes, Minister. I see. Now, let us get back to the topic of Keegan. Reza was your partner in humanity's mission to come to this world. His list of criminal activities not only includes murder, but also theft of generators, electronic components, and PDAs your people gave us. I understand why Bryce would reason that you could help the investigation, but we have no other choice but to be suspicious of Reza's partner. What was your motivation when you agreed to help us? And what would that be? The deal between our races. I firmly stand by our original agreement. If Reza's involved with these crimes, I want no part of it. It has nothing to do with me or the reasons I came here in the first place. If his actions are endangering this agreement anyway, I want to put a stop to him. I see. Well, after reading up on the whole situation, hearing both your accounts, I believe that Keegan is trustworthy. Water time. Nevertheless, I think Keegan presents a great risk. Why is that? After this meeting, I will hold a press conference to inform the public of the current situation. The people must know of the danger posed by Reza. No matter what Bryce and I think about your involvement, the public could feel differently. You, me, and Bryce will have to face the backlash resulting from this information becoming public. And what's more, Keegan, you might be in real danger yourself. Reza himself may come to silence you once he learns that you are helping us, or consider the public uproar for those who would question your involvement. All things considered, it would be for the best if you return to your own world until the situation has been resolved. I came to the very same conclusion, Minister. Then, with your support, this is what shall be done. Please don't. You don't agree? If you send me back now, this diplomatic relationship is over. I'd have to admit defeat to humanity. There's no way I can return without your generators or PDAs or Reza. Maybe you could explain to them what a great choice of an ambassador Reza was. But I was his partner, so in a way he's my responsibility. I can't just go back like this. I'm afraid that's not enough. It certainly does not outweigh our reasons for sending you home. Just let me explain. I'll tell you everything. Years ago, our world was prosperous. Our technology was far more advanced than yours, even. Computers not only graced every household, but every single person. It was the age of information. Even children had the power to access the most advanced knowledge at their fingertips. With our PDAs, our interconnectedness with other people in our environment was greater than ever. From locomotion to repetitious work and household chores, many processes were automated to such a degree that except for our jobs and hobbies, there was nothing that needed to be done by a person anymore. Even the concept of someone wielding a weapon was outdated, as wars were no longer fought by people but machines. Looking back, it was probably the single most prosperous time in human history. Exploitation of the environment and other people was at an all-time low, as was crime. Conversely, our technological advancements had drastically increased quality of life. Humans were no longer required for strenuous and repetitive tasks. Education had reached an all-time high and many new jobs were created. General happiness had reached levels never before seen. Yet one day, everything changed. solar flare that was headed for Earth was detected by an automated monitoring system. It was determined to be so powerful that it dwarfed all others ever recorded in history. We had less than a week to prepare. Chaos hit much earlier than that, as people scrambled to shield themselves and their possessions from the incoming ion storm. On a worldwide level, power lines were switched off, satellites reoriented in space, and planes grounded to mitigate the effects that would hit us. Despite humanity's contingency plan for such an event and all of our efforts, we were still not prepared for the sheer magnitude of the solar flare that arrived. It was only then, when our race had become so dependent on technology, that we were immeasurably vulnerable against this kind of disaster. That day, a force with the power of 10 billion Hiroshima bombs was unleashed into our atmosphere. The eyewitness reports from this day were varied as they were terrifying. A huge, beautiful aurora could be seen on the horizon before fireballs hurled across the sky. In some places, these lights became so bright that even those asleep at night awoke, as though the day had already arrived. A coronal mass ejection by itself did not have the power to kill anyone directly, but the side effects were disastrous. After the lights in the sky arrived, sparks showered from electrical outlets everywhere, igniting rampant fires in every town and city. Facilities that stored weapons, fireworks, or other explosives became centers of widespread destruction and loss of life. During the next stage, the solar flare started to affect body modifications and caused commonplace pacemakers and nanomachines to fail. 15% of the world's population died as a result of this alone. Once the full power of the waves hit us, however, society as we knew it collapsed in one fell swoop. Power grids on Earth shut down in an instant, as did all the machines that automated our routine tasks. Long-distance communication and transport became a thing of the past. Alright, y'all, I'm actually going to pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout-out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank y'all for all you do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silvermoon. Thank you for going a bit above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you to our gold tier patron, Tresem Guy. You're awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our not safe for work contents as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!